everyone out there in the world should be able to pick up an app and navigate it and use it. And I'll talk a little bit more about what this means later. But we also believe that apps should be made by everyone. We want to support developers at every stage of their journey, including people who are just getting started with our platforms, like yourselves. So what I'm going to show you today are some of the best apps, like I mentioned, and I hope that they're inspirational. I know that you're just getting started. This stuff is maybe way down the road, but hopefully it'll serve as a North Star and kind of things that we think are really great on our platform. So we believe in you, and we're excited to see what you create as part of this challenge. Okay, so what do I mean by great? One thing that makes an experience on any platform great is that it's refreshing, right? And on Apple platforms, I think one part of this is that it makes an emotional connection, right? Maybe it's simpler than you expect, and you're kind of amazed by that. Or maybe it's super intriguing and you get really absorbed by it. But most of all, it's memorable. You remember things that connect with you emotionally. And I think that's important. And each of the examples that I'm going to show you, I think, connects in some way with people in an emotional way. As you go into your challenge, I want you to keep in mind the person that you're designing for, and think about who your app is for. And I also want you to think about what emotions your app can inspire when people are using it. So keep in mind that person that you're designing for, and then imagine kind of how to connect with them emotionally. Okay. The example that I want to use here, the first example, is the language app Duolingo. Duolingo is an example of what I mean by a great app. And its greatness, I think, starts with the app icon. So when I see this app icon, I can already tell that the experience is going to be friendly and fun, just because the character, the owl, is kind of smiling back at me, right? So the personality, that emotional connection is kind of established right off the bat. Then once I get in the app, each interaction is super well crafted and fun. The animations are, keep that positive kind of emotional connection going. So we award greatness in apps like Duolingo with the Apple Design Awards. These awards are given annually, and they recognize kind of the best of the best apps out there. And a lot of the apps that I'm going to show you next are Apple Design Award winners. So I'm going to walk through 5 qualities that are found in the best apps on our platforms, and I'll offer an example of each one of these. So each app, like I said before, it represents something to be inspired by and to aspire to. It's not a checklist. It's more like a list of prompts for you to imagine ways that you can create your own great experience. And I'm also going to mention resources that are available so that you can dig in deeper on anything that I discuss. The resources include the human interface guidelines. Those are guidelines about how to create great apps and create familiar interactions. The developer app, SF symbols, a kind of library of icons. Apple design resources, these are templates for you to use, and then WWDC videos. So all of these are kind of at your disposal to refer to as you go through your challenge. All right, starting at the top, familiarity. So this is the first quality, and familiar means I've seen it before. So another word for this is intuitive, but I think familiar is better because it more accurately describes how to design well. It's like you want to use things that people have seen before, if at all possible, and people will know how to navigate your UI if they feel like they've seen it before, if they've seen that pattern or that element. So the example that I'm going to use here is called Sleep Cycle. It's a sleep tracking app. It's very unique looking, but it has a lot of familiar elements to help people get started with it. So this is the UI. It uses layouts that I've seen before. but it's also very unique, right? It's got the kind of space, starry night background, and it's got its own, kind of rounded typeface. When I look down at the bottom, though, it uses a very common uh, UI element, the tab bar. And when I look across, it's got nice labels and icons that help me understand all of the things that are available here. So looking across the bottom, I have an idea of everything that the app does. As I scroll up, I see the main action there. This is the main thing that I can do, and it's presented right in the middle of the screen to allow me to get started easily. And the controls are also super simple, right? I've seen pickers like that before in many places in iOS. And right below that picker, it explains kind of what's going to happen, right? I'm going to wake up somewhere between 7 and 7:30 in that half-hour range. It's going to wake me up at the right time in my sleep cycle. That's what's different about this app. So it explains kind of how the app works, but also uses a lot of very common symbols and elements. So that familiarity of those elements that I pointed out, it reduces the friction that people might have in getting started with something that's new. So creating apps that feel familiar and that can be navigated with knowledge that people already have, this is the goal of the human interface guidelines. So check those out. And even better, there are Apple design resources, like I mentioned, templates for primarily for Figma and Sketch that you can use to get started with UI elements and patterns across all of our platforms. All right, so that's the first quality. The second quality is inclusion. So great apps are designed for everyone, regardless of language or location or ability. So I'm going to walk you through one quick example here. Worldwide, there are over 1 billion people that live with some kind of disability, and that disability may impact their use or experience with a device. One example of a disability that kind of gets in the way of using devices is color blindness or color vision deficiency. So around 5% of people have this. That's 1 in 12 men. For women, it's more around 1 in 100, but it averages out to about 5%. And the most common form of color blindness is an inability to distinguish green from red. Many of us see clear differences between the colors on this slide, but people with red-green color blindness see something more like this. So it's very different, and you can notice that the red and the green there look fairly similar. So red and green are really common colors in user interfaces. So here we are back at the full color spectrum, and now we're looking just at the red and the green. So if I were to use these colors in my UI, I would also want to add a symbol, right, to really reinforce what I'm communicating here. Okay, now we see this is a phone app. And now we know which button accepts the call and which button declines the call. And so switching back to the color vision deficient example, we can see how much difference that symbol makes. Now, even without the colors, we know what the buttons do. And adding text labels, make it even more clear what those buttons do. Okay, this is where SF symbols come in. So if you're looking for icons to help you communicate things in your app, please check out SF symbols. This is an app that's full of icons for you to use. There's more than 4,000 of them now. You can designate colors, you can animate them, and they'll be automatically localized if there is a localization for them. So those symbols help you design for everyone, like I mentioned at the top. You really want to kind of make sure that you're communicating as clearly as possible, and symbols help you do that. All right, so the third quality is impact. Great apps make an impact, make a difference in people's everyday lives. A great example of this is called Be My Eyes. This app allows people who are blind or have partial vision to quickly reach out to someone who can help them. So if I'm a person who can help and I want to volunteer, I sign up in the app, and then I get a notification like this when someone needs help. So when someone wants to reach out, they can call me. This starts a video call, and so I'm able to kind of see video through that person's camera, and then talk them through whatever they're trying to work out. So this is a simple app that provides an absolutely essential service for people who need it. So that quality was impact, right? And impact, it just goes to show that apps can really make meaningful improvements in people's lives and help them do things that maybe they couldn't have done before. In some ways, it also helps people connect with other people in new ways, right? So Be My Eyes is a great example of that. Right. The fourth quality is innovation, right? And innovation is maybe a little bit aspirational, but I want to show a really good example of what I mean by an app can be kind of innovative without necessarily, completely inventing something new. Because I think the best examples of innovation, they use the latest technology, but they present it in a really simple way. So the app that I'm going to use as an example here is called Home Court. And as you can tell by the icon, maybe, it looks a bit like a basketball court. And Home Court is a basketball training app. It uses the camera of the iPhone or iPad to track makes and misses on a basketball court. And it's using computer vision and Core ML, which is an Apple framework, to track the flight of the ball and then determine whether it went through the hoop or not. So I'm not an engineer. I don't really understand how the machine learning models work. But what I love is how simple the user interface is. I look at this and it's a basketball app. It's clear what it's doing. It's kind of mapping my shots and it's tracking whether I've made or missed it. And this is an example of using a framework that we provide in a really interesting and innovative way to help me do a thing that I didn't know was possible, right? So it kind of just expands, in my mind, kind of what's possible with a device. So check out Apple frameworks. It may allow your app to be innovative, do something kind of new in a refreshing way, or identify maybe an old problem and solve it in a new way. And the frameworks are there to kind of help you do that in a way that I think will feel familiar to people. Right. The final quality is delight. Sometimes the greatest experiences are just the ones that make you smile. And a lot of times what makes you smile is when a thing is way easier than you expect it to be. There's a great translation app called iTranslate Converse. It's super simple. The entire screen, all of that orange area is a button, and you tap and hold anywhere on the screen and then speak. So in this case, I can speak in either English or Turkish. You can see that at the very bottom of the screen there, and it will translate one into the other. So there's no extra stuff. There's no extra buttons. There's no, you're not hunting for the translate button. It's really an example of an app that does one thing really well. So I can ask, is there a metro stop nearby? And the app will translate it.
Yakınlarda bir metro durağı var mı?
So it will display the translation in text form and then also read it aloud in Turkish. I can then press on the screen and the Turkish speaker can speak back to me and it will translate that Turkish into English. So a super simple app with super simple UI, and it's delightful, right? And delight is memorable. Things that are simpler than you expect, you remember that. So those are the 5 qualities to remember. Again, it's not a checklist. just some inspiration as you take on your challenge. Remember to go and check out the resources, the human interface guidelines, developer app, SF symbols, Apple design resources, and then the WWDC videos. So good luck and thank you. So back to you, Marina.
Thank you so much, Doug. Great examples, and thank you for this inspiration. Building apps is a truly great way to express yourself, explore your hobbies, and create solutions for the issues you see around you. Many of you have asked us, is there a topic for this year's challenge? And the answer is, the topic is whatever you want it to be. So you can create apps on any topic, anything that interests you. For example, we've seen in previous years, we've seen apps that help protect the environment, apps that teach new skills, apps that help improve mental health and well-being. We've also seen apps that teach good habits, or even help people preserve their native languages. So topics are truly unlimited. So we're inviting you to explore your passions and interests. And think about the problems you would like to solve. And bring all your creativity into your unique app. So the Swift Student Challenge is a great opportunity and motivation to help you learn new skills like app design and app development. We received many questions around eligibility and who can participate. On the Swift Student Challenge website, you can find all the eligibility information. So let's quickly go through it. First, you have to be a student and you have to be enrolled in an academic institution or homeschool equivalent, whether it's middle school, high school, or if you're a college student enrolled in an undergraduate program or a master's program, a doctoral program, you are invited to participate in the challenge. Secondly, the Swift Student Challenge is a truly global program. So students from around the world are invited to submit your applications. One of the questions we received is from someone in Italy who was asking, hey, I'm in Italy, can I participate? Yes, you can participate. Third, there is a minimum age requirement for every region. It's listed on this page. For example, you have to be 13 years old or older if you're in the United States, 16 plus years old if you're in some of the European countries. So just please take a look at this eligibility page to see the minimum age requirement in your region. Also, someone asked, do I need to be a computer science student to participate? The answer is no. You don't have to have a technical background. You don't need to be a computer science student to be able to learn app development skills and participate in the challenge. So regardless of your major, you can participate. Lastly, participating in the challenge is completely free. I will get a little bit technical now. On the eligibility page, you can also find information about your submission. It needs to be an App Playground file built with Swift Playgrounds or Xcode. These are free app development tools that you can download from the App Store on your iPad or Mac. Your submission does not need to be a big, fully finished app with lots of features. That's not the case. The requirement is that the App Playground should be experienced within 3 minutes. Okay, and you may use existing templates as inspiration or a head start. You may also use third-party open source licensed code and public domain images and sounds. Please give it credit and also list them in your application form. We'll also ask you to explain why these resources were used. Make sure you submit a compressed zip file of your App Playground that's under 25 minutes. And your App Playground should not rely on internet connection. It should work offline. Of course, it must be created by you as an individual. We really want to see your work, your individual app. Group work will not be considered. And lastly, all content must be in English. Again, no need to remember all this. All the details around eligibility and your submission are listed on the Swift Student Challenge website. So how do you get started? If you've never built an app with Swift, or if you are familiar with Swift, but your skills are a little bit rusty, nothing to worry about. On the Swift Student Challenge Get Ready page, there are many resources to help you learn app development from scratch and to improve your skills. On this page, you can explore and download Swift Playgrounds and Xcode. You can also find app design resources that will help you take some of the guidance Doug gave you earlier and include that into your app submission. There's also a list of Swift Playgrounds tutorials that can help you learn app development skills from scratch. And if you prefer to build with Xcode, you'll find developing Swift tutorials on this page as well. And these are great beginner-friendly resources that can take you step-by-step through learning app development. Of course, it's important to check your work and make sure everything works as intended before submitting your app playground. And if you have any questions or get stuck, feel free to use the Apple Developer Forums. Feel free to post on Apple Developer Forums. Also, rely on the Swift Student Challenge community by using the Swift Student Challenge hashtag on social media. It's a great way to connect with other participants. You can share your progress and support each other. And if you're an educator, you can see educator resources listed at the bottom of the Get Ready page. Let's talk a little bit about the app development tools and the difference between Swift Playgrounds and Xcode. First, you can use either Swift Playgrounds or Xcode or both. You can transfer files between the two tools if you want to. Swift Playgrounds is a great app for those who are just starting out, and it has lots of learning content built in. So you can go through the app development tutorials within Swift Playgrounds to learn some fundamental skills. Also, it has an app preview. You can see it on the right side here. It shows how your app looks in real time as you code, which makes it a really, really fun experience. A lot of you are probably familiar with Xcode, but if you're not, it's a professional development tool and has all the features used by professional developers to build, test, and distribute apps. If you are using Xcode to build your Swift Student Challenge submission, make sure you select App Playground as file type when you create your file. You can download Xcode from the App Store and it runs on Mac. Some of you may prefer to learn together, it's a lot more fun, or you may be already part of a coding club. So I want to mention our new Swift Coding Club resources that were launched back in October. These resources help you organize your meetings and learn app development using Develop in Swift tutorials. Or if you'd like to be a Swift Coding Club leader, feel free to start a club and learn together. But of course, reminder, you can learn together, but applications are individual. You may be wondering, what's the experience like for participants and winners? By participating in the Swift Student Challenge, you can join a worldwide community of developers who are using Swift to create great apps. After reviewing all submissions, Apple will select 350 winners from around the world. All winners will receive a 1-year membership in the Apple Developer Program, a special gift from Apple, and more. In addition, from the 350 winners, Apple will name 50 distinguished winners whose work is truly, truly exceptional, and will invite them to join us in person for 3 days at Apple here in Cupertino, where you'll gain invaluable insights from Apple experts and engineers. You'll be able to connect with other students and enjoy an unforgettable experience. Travel and lodging will be covered by Apple. So we'd love to see you this summer. However, regardless if you win or not, try to enjoy the process of learning and creating something new. And it's important to be proud of yourself for every new skill you learn and every new feature you build into your app. It's not always about winning. Of course, winning is great too. But you can hear all about it directly from a Swift Student Challenge winner. I'm excited to introduce AJ Nettles, who is a Swift Student Challenge 2024 distinguished winner. Hi, AJ. AJ is joining us today from snowy Alabama. I heard there's a storm over there, AJ.
Yeah, it snowed for a little bit. First time in 10 years.
Wow, it's great weather here in California. AJ, Tell us what was going on in your life when you learned about the Swift Student Challenge and what helped you prepare for the challenge.
Um, so whenever I first heard about the challenge, I was leaving class late one night, decided to check my email. Had an email from Apple saying that the Swift Student Challenge was now accepting submissions. Had no clue what the challenge was, so had to do a little bit of research whenever I made it back to the dorm room. But I decided I needed a little challenge. Put some time aside. Had to get back into studying Swift. I've It's been probably 2 or 3 years, so I was a little bit rusty, and I decided to jump into it. The Apple developer documentation, some Apple developer forums, and the rest was history.
Tell us more about your app and what inspired you to create this app.
So my app idea was centered around cybersecurity, since that's what my major was at the time. I decided to name my app Crypto. It was supposed to be a little interactive guide about better password security. So in the screenshot, you can see how a password changes from whatever you type it in as into a jumble of text that can't get reversed. And my goal was just to make an app that made the explanation of passwords simple and approachable to the average person, but also making it fun. So whenever they get done with the app, they'll have a desire to learn more. So, so in this screenshot, you can see that some people leave their passwords lying around, similar to this sticky note. That was a piece of my motivation, was that people would treat passwords as if they were not a crucial key to like um, everything today. Bank accounts, computer logins. So hearing someone scream their PIN in like a grocery store saying, "Hey, try this PIN for my car," you're not supposed to do that.
No.
So I wanted to kind of bring attention to the things that you shouldn't do as well, and how to better practice better password practices.
That's great. It's very educational.
That was the overall goal. And then after the user gets done with the interactive guide and knows a little bit more about passwords and how to keep better track of them, the app turns into a password manager where you can generate secure passwords, random passwords. Maybe you need uppercase, lowercase, symbols, numbers. It'll pretty much generate whatever password you need for that website or app. It'll store it all on your device, secured and encrypted. And as you can see, it's all centralized. All your different apps or applications, just click the plus button and add a new one. And it's all in one good spot.
Yeah, that's great. AJ, we've also had a chance to meet you in person last summer as part of your Distinguished Winners experience. It was wonderful 3 days with lots of students. I enjoyed them very much. I enjoyed meeting everyone. Tell us more about your experience as Distinguished Winner and visiting Apple in Cupertino last summer.
It was truly a once in a lifetime opportunity. If I ever get the opportunity to go back, I'll be more than grateful to go. I was able to be around such brilliant minds, able to present my app to Tim Cook. That was a dream come true. And being able to experience WWDC in person with people who have similar passions to me, everyone getting excited about the new updates, the new features that are being unveiled. It was truly magical, just being able to have this intimate moment with everyone about technology and just geeking out.
What was your favorite moment?
I think my favorite moment was just sitting on the patio and being able to just sit with everyone as like a new feature like math notes are being announced, and everyone, you just hear everyone just erupt in applause. Everyone's just like, wow, didn't know we needed this, but every single feature that was announced, everyone is just genuinely just like, this is gonna change, like every single update, this is gonna change the world. And just everyone having that same love for it was great to be around.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Great memories. It was great having you. Thank you so much, AJ.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. And thank you all for submitting so many wonderful questions as you registered for this event. We received many, many questions from around the world, from so many different countries. And of course, we couldn't answer all of them today, but we selected just a few most common questions. I am thrilled to invite a special guest, someone many of you know, our Senior Director of Developer Marketing, Esther Hare. Hi, Esther.
Hello, how's everyone? I know you can't answer, but
great.
still saying hi, everyone.
It's going great. Esther, you've been with the Swiss Student Challenge from the very beginning. You've seen so many apps, you've met so many students. We've got questions about what makes a winning app. Would you
Okay.
speak to that?
For sure. Before I do, I just wanted to say, first of all, it's lovely to see so many of you on here at the end of the day, for us anyway. Really love the passion and the excitement that's around the Swiss Student Challenge this year. And part of that is a huge call out to AJ, who just shared time with us. You may not know that we did this 3 times and he's joined us each time. So he's
Thank you, AJ.
completely inspirational and phenomenal technologist and fantastic app, but also a really amazing person. And we've been really blessed to spend time with him. So I just wanted a big call out to him there. So back to your question about what makes a winning app. So hopefully you're all paying attention to Doug's presentation where he basically gave you the answer. What's a great app? What do we look for? What do we think makes a great app? But when it comes to what you should work on, the best apps are the ones that you're passionate about, something that you can take with you, something that even if you don't win, because of course a lot of people will apply, but not everyone can be a winner this year. It's got to be something that makes sense to you, that you'll take with you, you'll keep building on it. So really think about something that maybe you're really passionate about. Is it something that there's a sort of solves a problem that's in your community, or something, an issue you've seen you yourself deal with, or somebody in your family deal with, or an issue that you see in your school? There's so many places for inspiration. If you can't think of anything right off the bat, look to the things that Apple puts value on. Our Apple values, they're out there in the ecosystem if you don't remember any of them, but education, environment, privacy, accessibility, inclusion and diversity, and supplier responsibility. So think about those areas. What could you do around those areas? The other thing that we used to do sort of way back, if you really get stuck, when we first started this, we actually gave a rubric for what kind of app to create. And we asked folks to create a resume app. That, a CV in some countries you call it. But the idea there was that you would have something that even if you didn't win, you'd still have your resume app. You could load it on your device. You could share it with prospective employers or in your school or for credit at school. So there's lots of ideas, and we can't wait to see them.
That's great. Another wonderful question we received is this one. What's your best advice for a new developer who's making their first app?
Well, the best advice is you started. So huge congratulations, don't stop. Regardless of your skill level, one of the things that the smartest people in the world will tell you is you never stop learning. You're always going to be learning. That's life. Even if you're not trying to actually learn, life's going to give lessons along the way. So always best to start with a learning first mentality. That'll get you a lot of places in life. And so I encourage you to keep learning, but also to realize that part of coding is making mistakes. Part of life is making mistakes. But if you're going to be coding and you're going to do this for a career, you better learn how to embrace those mistakes. If you're, making errors and you're scratching your head, just know that's part of it. But the harder the mistake and the harder the error that you're trying to fix, the bigger the joy that comes when your code finally compiles and the thing works magically. There are a few moments like that, so enjoy those. But then, like we talked about, choose a fun project to work on. There's nothing more motivating than working on something that you truly care about, because that's the thing that will make you want to keep adding features and keep making it better. The other thing that would be great if you're just starting out is to try and connect with other folks, whether that's, on the Apple developer forums, which are an amazing place for you to go find resources, talk to other developers, talk to experienced developers, talk to other students. But also to look sort of closer to home in your school. Is there a computer club? If there isn't, we just, as Marina showed you, announced our new Swift Coding Club. So why not start your own? You know, be the change in the world. If there isn't one, think about making it. You don't have to be the greatest developer in the world. You just have to have an idea and a passion for bringing people together. And then just, you know, you're going to share the love. So think about that. Think about where other places are that you can meet like-minded folks. And I think that is one of the biggest joys for us on our side when we see students come together at WWDC, and we just see, you know, finding other people who have the same passions, that are the same ages as you. I hate to say it that way, but I'm pretty old part at this point. But so it's super fun to see those relationships being formed. And so we love seeing that.
That's great. Thanks, Esther.
I didn't mean to lump you into the old farts either. Sorry, Marina.
Another wonderful question was submitted by Julia. Can you still go ahead with your project if someone has done the same topic, or it should be a new idea?
Great question. You can feel free to submit on any topic that you like, whether it's been done before or not. But you should be very, very careful not to copy something directly. Even if you're coding it yourself, you want to think about something that's new and different. Even if you're creating, you know, a similar idea, a similar theme, you should be thinking about how can you bring something new? What's a creative way that you can approach a problem? How do you see the world differently? There's only one of you, right? So you've seen the world through your unique experience and your unique eyes. So think about what you can bring to any kind of problem. There's, you know, a million existing apps on any topic, but you can bring your own solution and your own personality. You heard Doug saying, you know, delight. Make sure you're delighting us. Think about ways that you can take maybe something super simple, but make it really fun and delightful. There's just been so many really amazing apps that we've had the joy of seeing, and you know, the judges have come running to us with these amazing things that they find. And that's one of the joys of being on this side of the table, seeing these apps come to life, seeing the amazing things that you're all creating on a day-to-day basis. One of our favorites is an app that was created to read Braille, but on iPad using haptic feedback. So those kinds of solutions, that was a very advanced one. I realized I gave you an advanced concept, but it doesn't have to be, it can be nice and simple as well. But those ideas, just thinking of new ways to do things. We want to see your creation, and we want to see something that, you know, that represents you, your unique value and view on the world.
Totally. Lastly, we received a few questions regarding when is the best time to start building your app playground?
Yeah, well, anytime is a good time to start anything. Time will only keep going the other way. You can never go backwards, so get going today. You don't have to wait for applications to open. But I will say, if you haven't started yet, obviously the sooner the better. But if you don't feel like you have time, don't despair. Don't just say, oh, I don't have time now. It's too late. I'm not going to be able to do it. Start now and think about it for next year. Learning is forever. So if you don't make it this year, you'll be ahead of the curve. You'll have an even more fantastic playground to show us next year. Not that I'm pre-announcing that we're going to do this next year or anything like that. But yeah, think about what you can do in this short amount of time. Also remember that we're not asking you for a fully blown app. We're asking for something that we can experience and our judges can experience in 3 minutes. So almost the simpler, the better, the more concise and thought through your idea is. If you can, you know, relay that over to a judge in 3 minutes and it's fun, great. So think simple, don't think overly complicated. And another thing I would say is when you go to apply, even if it's not all working out and you're like, I can't get this working in time, still apply anyway, and be sure to write on the essay comments what you were trying to do. There's a lot of encouragement. There's a lot of excitement around what the students are creating. And we love to see what you're working on. And a lot of times we can look at your essays and say, that's what you were trying to do. I might not be able to, but our judges might be able to see right off the bat an error you're making and understand, and sometimes even, work around that. So good luck. I'm excited to see what you guys all create. You folks all create, I should not say guys. We have had some of the most fantastic female developers come through, but we are excited to see all of your applications, and we're excited to meet a few of you here in the summer.
That's great. Thank you so much, Esther, for sharing answers to questions. Thank you
pleasure.
for joining us today.
Of course.
And we hope this session was helpful for you all and provided some inspiration and some information about participating in the Swift Student Challenge. Get creative, design and build your unique app playgrounds, and we look forward to seeing what you can come up with. Apply between February 3rd and February 23rd on the Swift Student Challenge website. And feel free to invite your friends, your classmates to participate in the challenge. And if you're part of a coding club, let your colleagues know as well. Thank you all again for joining us today. Best of luck with preparing your submissions, and enjoy the process of building something great.
Thank you, Marina. Thank you, Doug. Thank you, AJ. Bye, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye, everyone.